Hello viewers, Super GT here. Welcome back to another video on Forza Motorsport 7. Once again in the Endurance Hopper. We're going to go for a couple of different cars around a couple of circuits, and of course we begin at New City, almost clattering into the back of someone who didn't move off of the line. Turn 1, managed to avoid all of the trouble actually. Kind of got a good start through there, and settling immediately into 4th in our Lamborghini Gallardo Super Trofeo, and this is a really good car actually for the class. I thought I'd give it a try. I'm going to go through a different couple of cars in this video and see how they pan out. And it's the beauty of this division really, the Forza GT division, that you can use a fair range of vehicles. In fact, you can see a fair selection on offer, the top 4 all in different cars, and that's good to see. It is one of the better divisions. It kind of works out because, of course, at the beginning of this game's life, they went very heavily on the whole car division thing, and then they reverted back to the car classes like A, B, C, S, and R and P, whatever. But I think this is one of the classes or the divisions that does actually work very well, and is actually very popular, the Forza GT division. And yeah, that's good. And this is where division does work, I think, in this kind of class here. All the GT cars. Now, it wasn't until about lap 4 that I kind of managed to get myself onto the back of this Porsche, and looking at the outside into the chicane, I thought he was going to go flying into the back of the BMW, but the performance on the brakes of that Porsche was really impressive. So he goes back up the inside into 2nd, but I have the superior top speed, so just finding that space on the inside to go back up into 2nd. This was quite a good race, you know, because normally around here it can be difficult to find yourself in a good race where everyone's trying at least to kind of respect the track limits. And well, this was a good example here, because not all the races we know around here are going to be good. There's lots of carnage. The track limits are difficult and sketchy to police. Coming up to a back marker here though, things could get a bit sketchy. We'll see how it goes. Onto the back straight, so he's in the M3 up against the newer BMW here in the lead of the race, and the back marker kind of swerving all over the place, left and right, stays to the right hand side as we go into the triple chicane. Up the inside, he's trying to turn in, I'm already there, and thankfully there's not any contact. I think he just bails out, / gets caught up on the orange sausage of doom, which actually just slows you right down if you go all over it. At that point there it was okay. This was a really weird incident because this Porsche was on the inside. I thought he was going to retreat onto the kind of beyond the white line. I didn't know what he was doing. It was a weird place for him to be, and I thought he would kind of disappear, but obviously not. And I clattered into the side of him. A lap later, into the pits, and we exit. After all this fighting that we've been doing, we've actually been jumped by a Porsche, the RSR. So actually now fighting for 2nd. This is the final lap 9 of 9, 20 minutes into the race, and we're still nose to tail. He hasn't had the best run through the chicane, and similar to how I overtook the Porsche, getting the superior traction on the way out. Up the inside, I have the left hand side, which is the inside for the upcoming chicane, trying to spot our braking point, which can be quite difficult here, and we get the move done, a little bit of contact, and now I have about half a lap left to try to hold him off. You see the Porsche just up ahead, not too far, the gap wasn't huge, but it was enough. He did enough to jump past the both of us in the pit stop and get into the lead. So this battle, which was looking like it would be for the lead, actually turns out to be the battle for 2nd. You see just how close he is. He's poking into the bottom of the screen to say hello. We have just a couple of corners left under the hotel. I've turned in a little bit late. He's gone actually up the inside almost on the way out. Into the last couple of corners, 2 more left to go. I think there was one of those weird bits of contact there. He went into the back, but it didn't really affect my car at all. And through the final turn, I'm going to hold him off to complete a nice 2nd. Not too bad a result, quite a good race. And there is that. And here we have Monza Mayhem of the week. Into turn 1 and just getting pushed on and murdering about 8 people. And that's just your daily dose of Monza, or weekly dose. Coming back to Yas Marina quickly here, and going for the Corvette this time around. Now I started around about the top 10. There's your punt. There's your Shadow Realm entry of the week. Up to 7th. Now, just watch this. Honestly, Moses, he's definitely present. I prayed to him quite a lot recently, and you see what happens here as the Porsche comes weighing in, comes flying in. They're gonna push each other. There's our friend Andrea from the previous video, who we had a disagreement with, and we eventually end up in first. Moses effect on point today, really, really strong. So running away with first, but then I go for my pit stop at the end of lap 2, beginning of 3, and well, this happens. Uh-oh, we can see already, he's going to cut every corner, not much you can do about it. And at the end of the race, eventually finishing second, albeit with a actually the worst vote of all time, Homestead, wet, voted for random. And I was actually 4.5 seconds off the pace ultimately, but that was a second place. We move to Germany, Hockenheim, in an Italian motor. Gone for the Ferrari 458. Let's see how this thing performs. Through turn 1, fairly clean actually. And this hopper's really good for this. I think in the normal class hoppers, it's a little bit worse. But then again, you have a bit more of a mismatch in terms of performance. You know, some people have really fast rocket cars, some people have really good handling cars, and it kind of creates a mismatch. In here, at least with the division, as these two guys go sailing wide onto the grass. See you later. In this division, at least, the cars are a little bit more matched. So yes, of course, you can get cars which are better in a straight line, and ones that are handling, like the Aston Martin, and maybe the Jaguar for top speed. But up the inside, just another dose of carnage. And this would be my Forza advert, actually. It would look a little something like this.
Peggy 18.
So that's how I'd sell the game, at least, if I had to make an advert. If they gave me the budget, just create as a 10-second advert. That's what I'd put anyway. It just really summarises Forza very well in 2 seconds. Just people sliding wide into the Hockenheim hairpin and wiping some innocent party. Just a typical day, really. And well, we've benefited from that. Into 7th. The car gliding into the stadium section, really nice through that turn. And they tried to catch up with this group of 3 up ahead, hold up behind this Mercedes. And we have our friend here, Master of Dirt. We had a good race with him at Yas Marina, the first race of the video. Let's see if we can get past him and maybe a couple of others. He decides to bail out. He's had enough. He's seen enough of this. He doesn't want to get held up anymore. He's going to bail out into the pit lane and go for an alternative strategy. Into turn 1, clipping the apex nicely, onto the power. We're powering out towards turn 2, up behind the Porsche RSR. What can we do about him into this turn? On the brakes, nice and late. Actually, not late at all. Later than him, but dead on time actually, to arrive at the apex and not shoot wide. Tucking into the slipstream of the Mercedes is not going to really affect me too much. I'm going to drive a semi-defensive line, make him go to the left, which gives me the inside of the hairpin, but he's actually got such a run that he's going to actually be cleanly ahead. Looking up the inside, there's a bit of a lag spike, and I've actually met the apex once again, plus the grass, and not the cleanest exit you've ever seen, as I kind of had to turn a little bit tighter than I would have liked to give space to the Mercedes, and that leaves me dropping away as we head through the kink into the left-hander, and not having to worry about the Porsche into that turn. So we're going to try to go past this Mercedes now as he slides through the turn. I'm going to get an overlap on him on the left-hand side, which is the wrong side really, as we go into this turn. I'm going to kind of let him turn in and maybe go for the cutback. Try and accelerate on the way out. It's not quite going to happen, although he has gone defensive. I'm going to turn around the outside, and then as he comes through, going to get a slide on, go for the cutback. We get the superior drive out of the turn. Up into 4th position, so that was a decent overtake. Get the job done, and then just rounding out lap number 2. We've completed it in 4th place, not a bad return, although the top 3 are a long way ahead now already. We did manage to catch up to 3rd, I think, as the result of some mistakes, as these top guys were actually really quick, and I think this guy actually making some mistakes at this point in the race. So with a full GT here. Not the best in terms of straight line speed, very good for handling, as I'm going to go flying past on the run down towards the hairpin, getting the job done before we get there. But I'm actually going to overcook it a little bit, go a little bit too deep, and by this I mean a lot. And on the exit actually getting the superior power on the way out to fully claim my third. In the end it was a third, and we got quite close to second. It was a good race. There are the results, the standings. Aerox Chris, very fast driver in the Mclaren, and that is the car which we are going to drive now here at Road Atlanta. Starting from pole position, so of course the fastest lap from the previous race decides the grid for the next race. So I've got the fastest clean lap. Put me on pole position. Let's try and have a clean getaway. We don't get sideswiped into turn 1. Brilliant. Okay, that's the result. Now we can just really focus on getting a good run through lap 1, get away from the rest of the pack, and really establish ourselves into this race. The car really flying through here. So the tune is by JSR Jersey, and the McLaren is not really a car that I've featured too much. I did feature it in the previous video. I was really impressed by it. It's not a car that I've seen being used too much. It never seemed to be a great car for this division. Of course, some cars are better than others. Of course, the balancing is supposed to make it equal, but you know, some cars are more equal than others, I suppose. It turns out the McLaren is actually a really decent car. Really enjoy using it. It's British. Always good to use the British cars, and well, it's just a great fun car to drive, and it's always good to drive something a little bit different, something you don't always see. Into the chicane and out of the chicane, you see the Jaguar got quite close on the way in. I just keep my nerve to keep the position. Over the line, solid lap 1, pulling away slightly from the 2 behind, and as a group of 3 we have pulled away from the rest of the pack. You might be able to judge from the map. We're going to try to have a decent run on lap 2 now. We've really warmed up the car and warmed up our fingers, so of course I can't quite use the cold fingers excuse anymore, as I have now warmed up. As we run through the S's, beautiful through there. The car just so collected and calm. It doesn't give you any drama at all as you go flying through those S's. Look for the 200 board and we fly into this turn, making the most of the camber to kind of fling you around the turn, hitting the apex and onto the power nicely, onto the back straight. You can see the gap there just opening up slightly. The main trouble we could have had here was either myself binning it or back markers. Back markers can always be an issue. As we go past this guy, just ran a little bit wide and we get past easily, not really losing any time at all. A little bit further round, I was checking the map and I kind of saw 2 guys moving quite slowly, so I thought I don't really want to catch up with them on this lap and maybe lose a lot of time or get wiped out. So I went into the pits. Of course, the only issue with that really is that you come out in traffic. So now, yes, okay, I've avoided the back markers, but I just have actual people to overtake now that I'm down in 11th. And this is how this one panned out. So lap 8, we are roughly halfway to the race. And looking past the Porsche here, we've got the superior power to go past him. Looking up the inside of the Jaguar, and I don't know, it was a really weird one. I did hit him, it was completely my fault. I kind of just misjudged it. He just kind of slowed down a lot more than I thought. I thought he was just going to turn across and take the corner. Perhaps I shouldn't have looked up the inside, kind of spooked him a little bit, maybe just stay behind. Ultimately, down the back straight, the Jaguar I thought was a really good top end car. Perhaps he hasn't got the right tune, as I actually easily sail by into the chicane to take him now 9th. So recovering some positions, losing a little bit of time there though, which is worrying, as that guy bails into the pit lane quite late. So I don't lose any time to him, at least. That's some consolation, I suppose. Into turn 1, lap number 9. Gliding through the turn, see how beautifully the car is pitched through the turn. Accelerating on the apex, up towards the kink here, at the top of the hill. The car just really flowing nicely, completely under control. Things are really going well at this moment. Although it's interesting because it was a close race. You can see by the first couple of laps that I wasn't really getting away too much. And any of those little incidents I had there, like with the Jaguar and with any of the back markers, can really affect things. And this, I went to the left, he kind of moved left really late. That could have been sketchy. It was a little bit sketchy, but just getting through without an incident. A little bit later then, start lap 10. This is where things got a little bit more sketchy, as this guy called Hard But Fair tried to pass him. He was going really slow on the straight, which is always suspicious. Alarm bells are ringing as soon as you see someone doing that. And I'm trying to overtake him, and I couldn't really find a way past. And another back marker there. He takes to the grass, takes evasive action through the S's. Not really a place to overtake, so I'm kind of waiting. And they must have patched explosions into the game there, because he actually just drove into the wall, murdered himself, and well, just died completely. So that's part of the new update, I believe. And we can see just how close it was. This is the end of lap 12. We're going to run through the entirety of lap 13 here, as it did get really close actually. I had a Lamborghini Super Trofeo hunting me down, braking just before the grass on the left hand side, rolling it through the apex, on the power before you leave the apex, up the hill, swing to the right, then back to the left, use the curb on both sides. Just go dirty there, just went a little bit too far over the curb. Swinging it through the S's, and really flowing through here nicely, onto the brakes, down 2 gears, hook it up with the curb on the inside, let the car settle, and then use a little bit of the extra runoff on the right hand side on the exit to get maximum power onto the back straight. Look for the second board on the left hand side, there it is. There's a little line across the circuit as well, and you look for the 200 board, that's what it is. Into this turn, it's really hard to judge exact braking points, but kind of just learn to judge exactly where that is. Onto the back straight, it's a good lap so far, 3 tenths up on our previous best. Into the chicane, you're kind of braking on the bottom of the hill, just at the bottom of the crest, and there is a kind of a line that goes across the track. It's kind of a difficult one to get right though. Through the chicane we've done that nicely, cutting across and then back to the left hand side, just dipping 2 wheels into that tarmac on the left hand side and then flying through. There is a big bump on the apex of that final turn which can put you off. Well, we've done it nicely, and I suppose this is again is the only threat that I could have. I was racing really well here. The Lamborghini Super Trofeo was marginally quicker than me, so it was a bit worrying, because if I made a mistake he was going to be right on me, and he was lurking fairly close. Hard But Fair once again with his Dolan livery, there it is. We go past him, you're just hoping, he's actually respawned. I thought he died in the explosion, but clearly not. I was expecting, or at least anticipating, a hit in the rear end. It didn't come, so we are safe in the lead. And ultimately at the end of lap 15, coming through to win. It was a close fought thing. The Lamborghini was gaining on me, but just managed to hold my nerve and hold out for the win. You see the results there. I did do a 120.2, but it wasn't quite clean. 120.7 clean. But there you go. I do hope you enjoyed the video as always. It was a really good couple of races there. Really been enjoying this hopper recently, and of course we do have the new November update in Forza 7, so do check that out. But that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching as always. I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.